this is the place to create leadership, the land of Israel. It's not only the people of Israel, it's the land of Israel.
Once you need to defend your country, to defend your people, you need a leader.
We want to see the society with the values of solidarity, tolerance, shared society. The best way to do it is to develop leadership.
We're standing here in the desert of Judea. The greatest leaders in the history of Israel came out from the desert. The Bible often said, and the king found favor in the eyes of God, which means if the leader was a right leader, if the leader was a godly leader, the people were blessed. But if they had a selfish leader who was concerned about himself and his well-being, we know that the people of Israel went through a terrible time. The prophet Jeremiah tells us that the eyes of God are scattering the land, looking for a leader for him to use. And now, 2,000 years later, after this amazing miracle of the return of the Jewish people to the land, we see leaders who were willing to pay the price, setting an example. Let us watch together how Israel is forming the next generation of leaders.
What do we know about leaders? We know that leaders are created under extreme pressure and hardship. And that is exactly the story the Bible tells us. Every character worth talking about in the Bible, from cover to cover, underwent hardship and led other people. And that remains the story of this land today. Leaders here are created through hardship and under pressure. And those circumstances create a unique breed of leaders that have led this country from its inception until this very day.
We didn't return to have a shelter for the Jewish people, because you do not create a shelter when you are surrounded with 22 countries that some of them are torturing their own people. We returned here in order to bring more light to the world together.
Once you bring 20 years old and you put on the heavy weight of our existence, they must know how to work in a group, how to lead, how to be ready to sacrifice everything.
I think you have to understand what a speck of dust you are in the larger context of things. You start to look at the world differently, and you're no longer the center. That is a leadership quality.
If I have to summarize leadership in one sentence, there is no break from leading by example.
We're heading towards Ammunition Hill, which is the site of one of the bloodiest battles of the six-day 1967 war. And we're meeting Major General Elazar Stern, who's the Israeli Minister of Intelligence. And he's a unique individual, both in his current position, but also in the fact that he deeply shaped Israeli leadership training, both as the commander of Bahad Echad, the Israeli officers' school, but also as the person who oversaw the writing of the current code of ethics for the Israeli army. So, Minister Stern, we're sitting here in Ammunition Hill, which is a very well-known battle site here in Israel. You've been here many, many times with your soldiers.
Yeah.
I want to take a basic question. What is special, what is unique about the way we in Israel raise leaders?
I think, first of all, we don't have any other options than to have leaders, because, unfortunately, when you have enemies, when you always need to defend yourself, you need leaders.
Since gaining independence in 1948, the State of Israel's Defense Force has fought 8 full-scale wars, 2 major Palestinian uprisings, and many other armed engagements with its Arab neighbors. So it's no surprise then that a lot of our leaders are grown in the military.
You can look at everything in Israel society within the role that the IDF plays with our values, our behavior, of course, our leadership, because everyone has to serve. So the impact, we call the IDF like the melting pot.
Minister Stern refers to the IDF as Israel's University of Leadership, and a key reason for the success of the country and its people.
In the military life, the test that you have to pass every day, even before coming to the battlefield, live together, make concessions in order to live together, be devoted, dedicated to do everything for your unit, and maybe later on become a commander. Around the age of 21, you lead a platoon which is close to 30 soldiers. They have to obey to every order that you are going to give them, even to sacrifice their own life.
You have a very famous line that says, Am boneh tzava boneh am.
Yeah.
A people builds an army that builds a people in turn.
Yeah.
It's very well known in the army.
Yeah.
Explain that to someone from the outside who doesn't understand how connected the IDF and the Israeli people are.
Every platoon commander spent with his subordinates much, much more hours than all the teachers in the high school together in 3 years, And it doesn't matter if you want to influence the society or not. By the fact that I just described, you have a huge impact about the Israeli society. It doesn't matter if it's part of our mission. It's not our mission. Our mission is to defend the physical existence, but we also have a huge impact about Israeli society.
Minister Stern not only values the IDF's importance in Israeli society, he contributes to it. As the Education and Youth Corps Chief Officer, he led a special committee that reformulated the IDF's Code of Ethics back in the early 2000s.
Regulations and orders, it's not enough to lead people to the battlefield. You must have something more, something above it. It's not only why we are here, it's in which values we are ready to serve our country. My parents, both of them, they are Holocaust survivors.
Really?
If I have to summarize, what's the two main pillars that I was educated around them? The first one is to ensure the never again. Never again that the Jewish people cannot defend themselves. Not to let something like the Holocaust happen again. The second lesson is never, but never make differentiation among people. Doesn't matter the color, the race, the religion. Everyone was created in the image of God, was created equal. It's a lesson that I take from the Bible, but in the same time, I take it from the Holocaust. These two pillars, one is the never again, the second one, everyone was born equal. People say, what's the priority? No. We must lead with both of them together.
Welcome back. Mati, when we think about leadership, the Bible gives us many examples of leaders.
Yeah.
We know that there were good kings and bad kings.
We spoke with General Erez Eshel, and he's a great example of how people who get to the top in this country often have to have a really deep understanding of leadership. Because just like him, they start as just basic soldiers and then climb up the ranks. They know why they're here and know why they're leading other people and what they're sacrificing for.
It brings you back to the question, which kingdom are you building?
Yeah.
My kingdom, or do I build the kingdom that God calls me to lead?
Yeah, because if you're in this neighborhood and you don't have a very strong sense of why you're leading other people, then you really have nothing. And that's what we see in Israel. That's what we see in the Jewish people in this land.
So you know what, Mati? Let's continue watching.
Why did Israel win the 1948 and 1949 war? Why didn't we win in 56 or 67 or just recently? What was the determining factor? It wasn't the technology or the money, especially because at the time we didn't have either of those. It was one thing and one thing only, the human resource. Since the inception of the State of Israel, we focused on one thing, training up quality leadership. It was the case 73 years ago, and it's still the case today. We're about to meet Erez Eshel, who's the father of the Israeli Mechina, or pre-military training courses. We're traveling to En Prat, which is just on the edge of the Judean desert, one of the first schools that they opened in this country. Now, Erez and his team have been training young leaders in this country for more than 20 years. And at this point, it's becoming more of a science than just a course. What a view, Erez.
You know, when you talk about leadership, there are two big virtues for a leader. Great rules and location, location, location. And we are in the desert. King David, Abraham, all of the big stories that happened here. Why the desert? You have quiet. No one is around you. You face yourself. You face your story. Who do you want to be? And what do you do in order to be that man?
In 1995, Erez was a paratrooper in the IDF Special Forces when Yitzhak Rabin, Israel's prime minister, was assassinated by a right-wing Jewish citizen.
It was an earthquake for any Jew, because the trust between left and right-wing, religious and secular Jews had cracked.
For Erez, this was a turning point in understanding and developing leadership.
If the miracle of the state of Israel is because of the solidarity of a nation that returns to the land because we have a purpose, something cracks. For me, the assassination of the prime minister was a moment that I understood we have to create a new generation of leaders for the state of Israel, for the Jewish people, and for the rest of the Western world. I resigned from the army, went to Tel Aviv University to study philosophy and Jewish philosophy. And for a while, I went to Oxford and Cambridge. Returned to Israel, founded the first Academy for Leadership, and out of Imprat, I can count more than 25 different leadership institutes that were established all around Israel.
Erez Eshel is very much the father of the Mechina movement, which in Hebrew just means preparation, which is an extremely popular pre-military training and leadership program.
We take 18-year-old kids to stop for a whole year. And instead of going into the army, like it's mandatory at the age of 18 to go at the age of 19, 40, 50 boys and girls, day and night, very high discipline, learning, hiking, volunteering in community, creating projects, getting prepared to the army, and creating an example group that will be together. When I walk with my students here and we hike a lot, I say, remember, Abraham walked here. David the king had been here. He was chased by Saul the king on this place. One day, anyone will say, you walked here. When you are connected to a story, we won't get confused. Every time Jews got confused, we were exiled. Let's walk around to see the academy.
When all is said and done, when it comes to leadership, the proof is in the pudding. So I'm going to talk with the students and faculty members from the academy.
I used to think that a leader was someone that stood in front of a whole bunch of people and was a powerful figure, but here I've come to realize that a leader really shows itself in humble actions and in being part of an environment and a group and a larger ecosystem. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
We learn many different things, from Judaism to Zionism to philosophy. We learn around the clock. Just knowing makes you think in a different way. Someone who knows more is someone who can help more in any different way.
There is a big debate if leaders are born leaders or we can create them to be leaders. Here in the Academy for Leadership, you understand that you can learn it. So everybody has this virtue, and if you will practice it, you can be a big leader.
Leadership is about loving. The most complicated professionality in the world is to love other people. If I love you, I will sacrifice my life for you. And we lost the love. We lost the ability to love other people.
Looking at the world today, for Erez, it's obvious that when it comes to leadership, we've lost our way.
The Western world is in a crisis. When in Syria, they were killing endless people, I called the Prime Minister. I said, we have to go and interfere. To sacrifice your life, it's not only for a Jew. It's not only for an Israeli. It's for any human being in the world. There is a crisis and we have to wake up. When you are afraid of someone and you are jealous, you hate him. When you build leadership, you build people that are not afraid even from death. One day we will die. The question is not how do I die, but how do I live? And if you understand that I'm not competing with you, I'm competing with myself, and there are endless good things, only happy to be surrounded with better people than me. So I do not hate, and then I love other people.
It's clear that for the people of Israel, leadership isn't only about power and strength, but it's a huge responsibility and value set that is meant at improving our country and the world.
Once you decided that your responsibility is to repair the world, to help the weaker, then you can become a leader.
When I look at talented people, I say, are you looking for people that will admire you? Or you understand, I'm so powerful, how do I move other people to do things better than me?
Once again, Shalom from Jerusalem. Today we have the great honor to sit with one of the most famous Israeli generals, Mr. Yoram Yair. He's known in Israel as General Yaya. General, shalom.
Shalom uvracha.
Let's talk about leadership and how leadership in Israel is different than leadership anywhere else.
Since I was very young officer, it was a kind of challenge how you take a young soldier and in few months make him a commander. We don't have academies to train our officer. It's on-the-job training. It's during your service, we pick the best soldiers and we make them squad leaders, and the best squad leaders we send for a few months to the officer course and they become commanders. They don't spend 4 years or 3 years studying. But the fact is, it's working. There are good commanders. The units are fulfilling their missions, everything. So there must be some reason why it happened.
So what's the secret?
Oh, so I say probably there is some key to leadership. And that's if you can motivate your people to do what you want them to do. What is the key for motivation? Identification. To create the situation where your soldier to identify with you.
The best thing that a leader can do is set an example.
Not the best thing. He cannot without. Our main tool to create identification is by personal example. Smoking mother cannot convince her daughter not to smoke.
Beautiful.
Don't go about leadership, big words, every day, in every house, in every family, in every classroom. If the teacher is not giving personal example, it won't help. Whenever you have to make a decision, to give an order, check 3 things. 1, which goal you are serving. Your own goal, your own interest, or the common interest, the common goal. Second is similarity. This is why personal example is so key. And the third part is it must be symmetrical. If you want your people to identify with you, do every effort to feel them, to understand them, to show them that you are identifying with them. That's a whole key.
Major General Yaya, great, great honor. I feel like I'm sitting with one of the biblical generals. Great honor. Once again to you, our friends, shalom, and thank you from Jerusalem, and keep praying for the miracle of Israel.
Hey, Amir.
Alan, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is Amir, the CEO of an incredible NGO called Aharai.
So let's go meet some of your trainees.
And he's invited me to do something I haven't done in years with a bunch of young leaders in the making. Aharai offers empowering, value-based youth leadership programs to all young Israelis, especially those from marginalized communities. And tonight, I get to train with them.
I'm a bit concerned about what's going to happen.
Aharai's vision is that every Israeli will reach their full potential and have access to all the resources necessary to shape an empowered future.
מה עובר לכם בראש עכשיו כשאתם מחזיקים את הידיים מעל הראש? מה יגרום לך להוריד בסוף את הידיים? כלום.
How long do they train together?
All the high school.
And they're doing what? Physical exercises, mental exercises?
Speak about values, about themselves, about their goals, volunteering to the community, what they want to be in the future. They will take responsibility not just about their choices, but also about the surrounding. Our vision is to see these people become the leaders of their communities.
I mean, it's okay. You can stop showing off for the cameras. Oh, it was good. Someone who does this willingly, they go into the army,
nothing's going to be a surprise or more than they can take.
More than 20% of all the combat soldiers are graduates of this program.
Aharai means follow me in Hebrew and is an expression that was developed during the 1948 War of Independence when commanders led their soldiers.
In Aharai, we don't call Aharai, we do Aharai. We lead by example.
Do as I do, not do as I say. Yeah, that's powerful stuff.
We develop young leadership from all sectors of Israeli society. We want to see the teenagers in Israel have a real opportunity to fulfill their potential and lead the communities they live in, and to take responsibility not just about their lives, also the lives of their surrounding. We want to empower them physically, mentally, socially. It's very important. So we believe that if we will work with the masses, and this layer of leadership will influence their surroundings, it will have a very big impact about the whole society in Israel.
From wherever they are in society, in the time in their life for the first time, they're asking the question of, who am I? What am I doing here? What are we doing here? And you help them shape the answer. And through that, I mean, you can see it here. It's a very powerful experience on a personal level, too.
You feel that you are doing something meaningful, that it's really have a very significant impact. "4,000 kids came here yesterday. They didn't sleep."
Last night's training was preparation for these teenagers' biggest challenge yet, an arduous hike up Jerusalem's Mount Herzl in honor of their upcoming military service.
You might be able to tell that it's been a hard morning. Me and these kids who started hiking 5 hours ago, up and up and up this mountain, which, like everything that's of value in our life, nothing good comes without a little sweat, elbow grease, and being a little out of breath. What do you feel at the end of this journey?
I'm very proud of myself. I like to see all of these people that didn't give up and went through this journey.
I'm interested to know what drew you into doing this prep course.
Wanting to make a difference in society, honestly. Wanting to be a leader for all people.
זהו דור העתיד של מדינת ישראל, זה שמפריח את השממה ומפתח את הארץ.
To feel powerful, you need to help others. When you help others, you get power from that.
I'm confident that with future leaders like these, Israel is on the right track.
Never doubt yourself. There's no limit to what you can reach.
Hey, I'm Mati Shoshani, and thank you for watching the TBN Israel YouTube channel. We hope this video gave you greater understanding of Israel and her people. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. We'd love to hear from you, so be sure to share what you've learned and ask your questions in comments below. And invite your friends to join the conversation.